right, so you know who Blake Lively is, right? Most people know her. Yeah, see, the people who are booing, they know.
The judge in Blake Lively's case just slapped down their psychopathic request.
Breaking news, Justin Baldoni just got a big win, meaning Blake Lively got a big loss.
Your lawyers are stupid. It's like he's like being nice here. He's like, your lawyers are really stupid.
See a bully a bully attacking somebody. The bully being Blake Lively and our powerful lawyers. And thank goodness Justin's got support to be able to fight.
I don't like her. She seems like a bully. She seems like somebody who punches down to somebody who's only trying to do something nice for her.
I'm not asking anyone to not believe anyone.
Blake's case is falling apart. She's destroying her cred.
It's like, grow up. You're in the public eye. You've got probably hundreds of millions thanks to your husband. Just shut up. No one cares that you got a couple of bad articles about you in the Daily Mail.
It's intensely personal. It's getting more personal. They're going to discover more information that's going to make them angry. They're out to salvage their reputation, so there's not going to be an easy way to walk away from this and say, okay, let's just call it a day.
It's insane. What are you talking about? She genuinely is not aware of how insane she sounds.
Because she was such a high-maintenance diva bully brat, he had to bend over backwards just to get her to shut up and complete the film.
She wants different rules for her than she wants for Baldoni and his team, which I don't think the judge will agree with.
Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds have hired former CIA agents with a proven track record of lying to the public, gaslighting the public.
Juries don't like liars. Trials are about credibility.
Blake Lively, her brand, Ryan Reynolds' brand, have totally been tarnished by this because the world now sees them for who they are. They cannot act their way out of this.
Blake Lively apparently wanting control of a movie she did not control, wanting to get the camel's nose under the tent as an actress and then take over the entire production, mission creep on steroids.
They weren't the first to do this. It was Blake Lively, it was Ryan Reynolds, this was their strategy, and now they kind of want to put the genie back in the bottle, but guess what? The genie does not want to go back in the bottle.
And number two, the SH has nothing to do with taking over the movie, even though she doesn't deny that she took over the movie. Of course, it'd be probably impossible to do that.
Are her lawyers dumb? Is this truly a win for Justin and a loss for Blake?
Absolutely a win for Justin, and you're absolutely right, Andy, in your interpretation of the document. What they said is basically, they told you to go, you have to go meet and confer, and see to come up with more narrow requests.
There's a lot of this sort of like Blake complaining that they're evading the privacy, they're doing all this, but then meanwhile, right, she's on Saturday Night Live with Ryan making jokes, hitting back. I mean, is it not a little hypocritical? Is this a bad look of her if she's trying to tell the courts that we should stop talking about this in public?
And Baldoni, there's Leslie Sloan, who's another PR agent who will be part of this lawsuit. That was Blake Lively's. Blake Lively will be sued, and we're carefully considering other people that will be sued also, and some of them will come as a surprise. Ryan Reynolds, for sure.
Oh, wow.
Team Blake Lively may think they have the upper hand. Sources say she has no idea what's coming regarding her battle with Justin Baldoni.
Welcome back to Tea Time with Tina. Picture two Hollywood sweethearts strolling into a courtroom, each one smugly convinced that their celebrity status and well-crafted smiles will carry them to victory. It sounds like the start of a tacky TV drama, but here we are, watching Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds fumble one of the most disastrous legal showdowns in recent memory. Forget the polished interviews and carefully posed red carpet snapshots. This time, they're reportedly trying to bend the truth like an overcooked noodle. Rumor has it they're bribing witnesses, delivering cringe-worthy performances on the stand, and giving Hollywood an unflattering peek into their behind-the-scenes arrogance.
Okay, so I was able to read the amended complaint, which, by the way, it's very abnormal. It's almost 180 pages, 400 and some odd paragraphs. Complaints are not normally that long. But this one has to be for public consumption.
Because it's intensely personal. It's getting more personal. They're going to discover more information that's going to make them angry.
Are under strict orders to kill each other, and that's what's happening. Both sides are trying to kill each other, and right now, Baldoni's team is witty, hands down. Public opinion is completely behind him.
Now, you'd think these two would be the last people to stir up such a fiasco. But apparently, the greater your fame, the juicier the scandal. And oh, does it get juicy. Because once you peel back the layers, you find a trail of sensational leaks, shady deals, and a judge who isn't even remotely impressed. If you thought these two were just the lovey-dovey power couple of comedic blockbusters and glitzy fashion campaigns, get ready for a shocker. Buckle up, because it seems their entire empire might be on the verge of tumbling down, one humiliating courtroom revelation at a time.
I think this is inching towards that percentage of lawsuits that don't settle. We could very well see a trial in this case.
Because not only could it be not good for the legal case, it's going to be an absolute nightmare for the PR side. And so I think the sooner that they can kind of figure out a path out of this, the better.
Leaked HR complaints that was circulated around last week, and a lot of people commented on them. They were not picked up by the press because they looked quite suspicious.
Now, before we dive into this insane story, don't forget to like and subscribe, because let's face it, I'm nothing without your support. Now back to the tea. This fiasco started as a routine legal scuffle, something most celebrities handle quietly over a well-catered lunch at Chateau Marmont. But Blake and Ryan, bless their carefully curated brand, decided to swing for the fences instead. Word on the street is that they marched in with the kind of bravado you only see when someone truly believes they can charm an entire courtroom just by flashing $1 million grin. Unfortunately for them, the law isn't a talk show, and Judge Liman looks less than enchanted.
So her testimony is super important in this case. And if you can show the jury that she's lied, juries don't like liars.
Actually, what I said last time is, of the 92-8 split, which is 92% of cases settle and 8 don't, this does meet criteria of being within that 8%. Because it's intensely personal. And, so I think there could be some argument about whether it was leaked and shouldn't have been leaked, and should they have the information or what it may be. No matter what happens, this is a damning.
According to insiders, the cracks in their case began showing almost immediately. The couple, accustomed to controlling every narrative with a carefully crafted PR spin, apparently figured that real-life judges would buy their story as easily as tabloids. What they got instead was a merciless spotlight shining on every suspicious inconsistency. Key witnesses who'd been touting the couple's innocence suddenly changed their tune. Once friendly tabloids, sniffing out a bigger story, started publishing scathing pieces that questioned every detail. And with each new headline, the legal fortress Blake and Ryan thought they built grew weaker. Things are bad when even the fans in the peanut gallery start questioning whether you've lost your moral compass.
This dispute, these words that were said by Lively side, had a clear, immediate negative impact on Valdez. Just from a PR standpoint, if they both struck an agreement and walked away, that would be the smartest. Because it's not going to get it was never going to get any better from Lively after when she filed that California Civil Rights Division pre-complaint, right?
It seems insurmountable. It seems like this case cannot be settled.
Here's the real kicker. Everyone expected a quick settlement, the usual hush-hush agreement that spares celebrities from public scrutiny. Apparently, these two had other plans, or maybe their own hubris made them believe they could still sway public opinion. Either way, the performance so far has been about as graceful as an elephant on roller skates.
Basically saying you're a liar, you misrepresent who you are, court of public opinion. They've lost.
The crumbling foundation of their lawsuit has opened the door to all kinds of embarrassing details, and Judge Liman is making it clear that no amount of star power will blind the gavel of justice. So if you're thinking this couple might slink away quietly, think again. The legal meltdown is only gathering steam, and it's fueled by ego, manipulation, and a healthy dose of comedic self-destruction.
This is like one of those cases that has enough of the bad feelings on both sides that it could potentially show up in a trial. That shifted the narrative, and she could have walked away and probably had a PR victory just off that document. Now, I think with the lawsuit going and both sides firing guns at each other, I think it's not going to get any better for either of them.
Most people know Blake Lively as the gorgeous, witty actress who lights up the screen with her effortless charm. But let's just say that in the courtroom, her sparkle dimmed faster than a cheap flashlight in a haunted house. Rather than impressing the judge with sincere testimony, sources say she tried to spin a heartfelt sob story, complete with theatrical tears and borderline cringe monologues about her suffering. In theory, this might work if you're auditioning for a soap opera, but in an actual court of law, sobbing on cue doesn't necessarily translate to believability.
But trying to skew it kind of a different way.
Her testimony is super important in this case. And if you can show the jury that she's lied, juries don't like liars. Trials are about credibility because jurors are very bright, especially collectively. When they're all together, they all come from varied backgrounds. They're the smartest people in the room collectively, and they generally get the right result. Her testimony won't even count. And that is that's a harsh reality, because if the jury chooses not to listen to anything she has to say, she's the best witness in this case. Trials are about the truth, and juries want the truth. And if you lie to them, they will hold it against you.
Judge Liman, who's apparently immune to Hollywood dramatics, didn't buy one bit of it. He called the whole thing a PR circus right to her face, which is about the worst insult you can hurl at a celebrity who thrives on the illusion of authenticity. If that wasn't humiliating enough, rumors are swirling that even spectators started rolling their eyes at her attempt to spin the narrative. Spare us the waterworks, they might as well have said, because no one seemed convinced that a well-coached monologue proved anything other than an over-reliance on star power.
If you have somebody who has a significant amount of power in the industry and has the ability to tell stars not to go on your podcast in the future, and has general ability to make life uncomfortable for you and ask for a favor, you're more inclined to do it, right? So yes, does he have the power to do it? Pick up a lot of people who are either a lot less powerful than Ari Emanuel who would have the power to do that. So that doesn't surprise me.
Beyond the melodrama, Blake might have seriously damaged her career with this fiasco. Nothing says career coffin like watching a beloved star transform into a transparent manipulator under oath. The whispers are getting louder. Did you see how fake she was? I can't believe I used to like her. Suddenly, her pristine image is in freefall, and nobody knows if it's going to crash land soon or keep spiraling out of control. Either way, if she thought the judge would be starstruck by her presence, she severely miscalculated. One might wonder, how do two famous faces go from America's sweethearts to courtroom comedy of errors so spectacularly? Simple. They reportedly tried to rig the entire system in their favor.
You better hope that these HR complaints are genuine and credible. There's some credibility to them, because if we do learn that these were brought about by Blake Lively and her team, it's just going to compound already all the other bad facts that they're dealing with. It's only to try to take back the narrative that Baldoni's team has done a very good job of it. And perhaps the reason they've done such a good job, the Baldoni's team, is because they have more truth on their side than perhaps Blake Lively does.
We're talking bribery whispers, suspicious witness statements, and legal documents that look about as credible as a used car salesman's pitch. If these rumors are true, it means they weren't even trying to hide their desperation. Toss a few hush-hush payments around, convince a handful of shaky eyewitnesses to parrot your line, and boom, you've got yourself a cushy bed of lies. Or so they thought. The big problem with that plan? Once you start down the rabbit hole of shady deals, there's no easy way back. Each new bribe, each contradictory testimony, just adds another layer of suspicion. And let's be real, celebrity or not, you can only push a judge so far before they decide to peel back every single layer to see what's really happening. Sources claim that people who once jumped at the chance to defend Blake and Ryan suddenly found themselves in too deep, forced to recant statements, or risk getting slapped with perjury charges. Nothing screams, "we messed up," quite like your own witnesses folding under pressure.
It's Blake Lively's PR firm begging to be let go of the case. I think actually they may have
some stuff up in her amended complaint. Now she's describing that dancing scene very differently than she did in her first complaint.
Blake Lively made, and she lied in their minds about what occurred during that dancing scene, because she wasn't aware that there was audio that would maybe explain and give some context to what was happening there. So of course she changes her in her amended complaint, she changes the view of it a little bit.
So now the couple is left scrambling, trying to prop up what's left of their credibility. But it seems every step they take digs them deeper. Their legal team, once confident in the unstoppable star power behind them, is now rumored to be frantically juggling damage control. Because apparently, even in Hollywood, you can't just bribe your way to victory without leaving a trail of suspicious receipts. Funny how that works, right? As if the courtroom chaos wasn't enough. In Waltz's Ari Emanuel, one of Hollywood's most influential agents, often whispered about like the boogeyman in Tinseltown corridors. A leaked audio recording allegedly caught him in an interview discussing blacklisting certain actors and playing puppet master with careers.
I wonder if you could tell us about a little bit of a mess that I gather you've been involved in. Oh, yeah. I know where you're going with this one. Do you have notes on it? Oh, yeah. Those are the two things I said to myself, this could come up. I caught wind of the Blake Lively, Ryan Reynolds. Let the record show for those listening at home, Ari just slit his throat. I mean, it's a fucked up, bad situation that Belloni, whatever his name is doing. And his partner. Now, he was your client too, until recently. Yeah, until I fired him. Right. You know, just give a little bit of the backstory. It's not really fair. I've known Ryan and Blake for over a decade. They're really incredible people. In Hollywood, they have been incredibly successful. People work with them. They've never had any bad mojo out there and treated people badly. They kind of are charitable because we help them with their foundation. They've given tons of money away. If what is alleged in her lawsuit that happened on social media, just because she complained to the studio that things were unhealthy on the set, that he was director and this man was the producer, and they did to her what they're being alleged, they're really bad people. And Blake, I know Blake, I know Ryan, they're actually good people. Now, social media is a really good thing at times because it lets people, stars, connect with their fans. But these two guys used it in an evil way, if that's true. She felt that she was not being protected. She complained, and then these people tried to go after her. They should stop. And they're still trying to do it, and they should stop. And what was your role? Did you fire him as a I fired him. I'm a ride or die. And they're good people.
Justin Baldoni's name entered the chat, linked not by actual wrongdoing, but by having the audacity to be friends with Blake and Ryan. Here's the kicker. The audio implicates not just the usual showbiz backdoor deals, but a coordinated effort to shape narratives. And guess who stands at the center? Yep, Blake and Ryan, who by all accounts gleefully reap the benefits of being connected to the right power players. Now that the audio's out, though, they look more like cunning puppet masters than innocent superstars. Their once charming brand is taking a savage beating, and they can't exactly blame the tabloids for this one. Blame your pal Ari, whose big mouth might just have blown your cover in the most spectacular way possible. Given their status, it's no surprise that Blake and Ryan have tried to steer public perception like they're directing traffic on a movie set. They've built entire careers on their witty banter and photogenic romance, so controlling a news cycle probably seemed like a piece of cake. Whether it was exclusive interviews, well-timed social media posts, or feeding tabloids just enough tidbits to paint themselves as sympathetic victims, they tried every trick in the PR playbook. Rumors also suggest that behind the scenes, PR teams are working overtime to plug the leaks. They're desperately trying to bury unflattering stories and highlight any positive angle they can find, like a random charity event from 2015 or a vague social justice post from 2020. But at this point, the public has sniffed out the damage, and the stench of manipulation is hard to ignore. It turns out that once you lose the trust of the masses, it's tough to win it back. If only they'd stuck to comedic one-liners on late-night TV instead of orchestrating a media cover-up that makes them look guiltier by the day. If you're thinking that any sane person would quickly settle this mess before it causes permanent career damage, you're not alone. Typically, 92% of legal disputes end in some kind of settlement, like a behind-the-scenes handshake while everyone pretends nothing ever happened. But apparently, we're staring down the barrel of the other 8%, where neither side is willing to quietly walk away. And when you factor in the egos at play here, it's not shocking that we might be headed toward a full-blown legal apocalypse. The stakes couldn't be higher. Every day this case drags on, more unsavory details bubble to the surface, further tarnishing the squeaky clean brand that Blake and Ryan cultivated for years. On the flip side, the judge seems eager to expose each manipulative tactic, and the media is having a field day. Once you're this far into a PR nightmare, a simple settlement starts to look like an admission of guilt. In bad press, it's letting the world think they might actually be at fault. So the question becomes, can they afford to keep fighting? High-profile attorneys don't come cheap, and neither does the relentless spin machine required to keep your public image afloat. Then again, can they afford not to keep fighting? Settling might lead to humiliating disclaimers and further revelations that send fans running for the hills. If they're worried about their reputation, they might choose to roll the dice and hope they can outlast the critics, the public, and the courts. It's a lose-lose scenario, but pride and stubbornness are powerful motivators, especially when you're used to winning in Hollywood. In the end, this entire debacle is a cautionary tale about what happens when fame, arrogance, and a sense of invincibility collide head-on with the stark reality of the legal system. Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds may have spent years perfecting their public image, but no amount of witty banter or philanthropic PR stunts can hide the cascade of missteps now on display, from their alleged bribery fiascos to the humiliating meltdown in Judge Liman's courtroom. The once golden couple seems to be racing toward a spectacular downfall of their own making. And if they thought a leaked audio clip was just another passing controversy, they might want to rethink that stance. The Ari Emanuel scandal is now forever tied to their names, pulling them deeper into Hollywood's murky undercurrents. Their attempts to manipulate the media have backfired, turning curious onlookers into skeptical critics. With the case now careening toward that notorious 8% that refuses to settle, the stakes are higher than ever. They stand at a crossroads, either accept a humiliating retreat or push forward, risking even more public ridicule and potential career suicide. It's a tough lesson in how quickly fortunes can change, even for Hollywood elites who imagine themselves untouchable. After all, when you're used to red carpets and adoring fans, who could have predicted that a courtroom might become your stage for public humiliation? So ask yourself, is this the final chapter in the legend of Blake Lively and Ryan Reynolds, or just another act in a never-ending saga of scandal and spin? Because if the past weeks are any indication, there's always another twist lurking around the corner, and it might just bury them for good. If you can't resist watching Hollywood's biggest names trip over their own egos, be sure to subscribe to the channel for more behind-the-scenes drama and explosive revelations. Hit that like button if you enjoy a good celebrity meltdown, and drop a comment below with your take on Blake and Ryan's fiasco. Is this the end of their power couple reign, or just another Hollywood bump in the road? Thanks for tuning in and indulging in the spectacular unraveling of two seemingly untouchable stars. Stay sharp out there. After all, if the mighty can fall this hard, no one's truly immune to a public crash and burn. Until next time, keep your eyes peeled for the next jaw-dropping twist. Because in Hollywood, the real show always happens behind closed doors. Until next time, stay tuned, stay safe, and stay informed only on Tea Time with Tina.